We're live. Welcome to another episode of Diaspora. Today I'm talking to a very good friend. His name is Ronzai. He's also from the Zimbabwe, but we call it the Zim, right? So,
Zim.
yes, sir. So I just want to start from kind of like what makes you kind of unique and special is the fact that you were like you were a professional player of tennis.
Professional tennis player. Yeah.
How was that like? Like, how was the experience of being a professional athlete representing Africa? How was that for you?
I mean, where do you want me to start? Like, just growing up or?
Yeah, anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, just a little background. So I started playing tennis when I was 6 years old, right? About 6, 7. That's when I started playing.
Okay.
How I got into it was, growing up with the parents, they don't want you to just sit around in the house. They're like, oh, go play with your friends or get outside the house and do something,
Right.
stuff like that. So that's how I got into it. My mom's best friend, the son, played tennis, right? So she always said, oh, go play with, his name is Innocent. So go play with Innocent. Go to the tennis courts. Go to the tennis courts. So I was just forced to go to the tennis courts. So I would just go there, goof around, play around. But after a year or so, the coaches were really intrigued. Like, oh, you're pretty good. You should start coming more often. And I mean, everything else is history, man.
So
Yeah.
when you started playing, what makes someone kind of like? I was gonna ask, like, what makes you different? Like, what makes them know, like, oh, this person has the potential to be a pro? Is it your serve? Is it your lateral movements? Like, what is it?
Well, in my case, there was also like a developmental program for tennis in my city. Right. It's called Mantis Tennis Academy, right? So they basically send out coaches in schools and they recruit. They look at talent, like public schools, nothing special. This is all free development work.
Right.
They're not really making money out of it, but they're just recognizing talent and just trying to make the best out of the situation, right?
Right.
So the coaches eventually said, hey, you're pretty talented naturally without any skills or knowledge of the game. So we want to train you. You just come once a week. From once a week, it was twice a week. From twice a week, it was 3 times a week. 3 times a week to 5 times a week. And before you know it, at the age of like 8, 9, I started representing the country. Fast forward to, the whole process of the development of the game. There's so much that goes into it. For the most part, it's just being surrounded by people with the same mindset. I think it was a big thing for me, right? So growing up at the age of like 6, 7, I'm already seeing people like me, that are playing for the country, playing for this, playing for that, going to Europe, representing the country, doing all these great things at a very young age. So being exposed to that, the competitiveness, the people who want to do better and people who are doing better, it just changes you. It just changes your mindset. And seeing that right off the bat, I wanted to be like that. So at the age of 9, 10, I already had a vision. I want to be like that player. I want to be like that guy. That guy who just went to South Africa, I want to go there too. That guy who just went to Namibia, I want to go to Namibia too.
And that's from the Mantis Academy, right?
Yes, that's Mantis Tennis Academy. Yeah.
And that academy, is it? You say it's kind of like a non-profit kind of?
Yeah, it wasn't really for money, to be honest. It was mainly to just help. You would get scholarships to train and live at the center in my city in Mutare. They had an academy, a house where you would stay and you'd get training. They would take you to school. It was a bunch of us, but only like this. The talent would go there. It wasn't just everybody come over for free. No,
Right.
It was there was special.
Is that like a
special
game
kids.
that you have to play, or is that like
No, talent.
Just from the coaches
would
would-
see it. The hard work and the dedication, the talent, and they can tell. They can tell. So they'll take a few people out of the city, out of the public schools. They'll say, hey, come over, we'll pay for this, we'll pay for that. Or you maybe have to pay for maybe your school and we'll cover your tennis. Mainly they would cover the tennis side of things. School, you take care of your own school,
Right.
tuition and stuff. It's not, the public schools in back home, they're not that expensive, but
Right.
the tennis part is expensive. So they stepped in and, just made sure that they went above and beyond to make sure that you basically, what's the word? Utilized all the talent that you had. They explored to the max. So they did the best they could to make the best out of everybody, pretty much. Yeah.
So when you were saying the coaches, are these African coaches or are these like mixed with Africans and Europeans coaches?
No, these are Zimbabwean coaches.
They're Zimbabwean coaches.
Wow. Zimbabwe is a little background. Zimbabwe is very big in tennis. It's very normal. I know it's a normal thing. Africa is huge in tennis. Africa has so much talent, just Africa in general.
Really?
Right. But focusing on, I can give you a little history about South Africa. Players that have came out of South Africa, players that have came out of Morocco. Namibia have, produced a couple good players. Burundi, even Burundi, Kenya, specifically talking about Zimbabwe, we have, Andre Agassi. I don't know if you know Andre Agassi. He came over to Zimbabwe.
Really? You met him?
I was still young, but my uncle, where I just got back from Boston, he was actually number one in the US. He won the NCAAs. He was, I think, top 200 or 300 in the ATP, which is the Association of Tennis Professional. He played for the country together with Baron Blake and Wayne Blake. I don't know if you know them. Huge into tennis. So historically, we have produced really good players, even up to date. We still have some pretty decent players that are still out there.
Is that a reason why? Because I just never heard of an African country that was interested in tennis.
Oh no, it's there. It's not it's stigmatized that it's a white people sport.
That's kind of what I'm trying to get into.
It's a stigma. Well, there's kind of some truth to it because it's an expensive sport. You don't find a lot of black Africans playing tennis because it's very expensive. There are there who do so, but it's very expensive. So you're gonna need some sort of help, maybe sponsorships or of which it's there, as long as you have the talent. It's all, if you have the talent, if you have the work ethic, you can get all those sorts of resources to become a good player. But the stigma is that tennis is a white people sport, but it's not. It's everybody's sport, and it's very common in Zimbabwe, and it's very common in Africa in general. It's just that it's expensive, and you're going to need some sort of support and some sort of resources to get there.
So you don't think because your country is situated closer to South Africa have anything to do with the popularity of tennis in Zimbabwe?
No. Look at Burundi.
Right.
Burundi. I don't know if you know.
I don't have no idea.
Burundi, it's tennis. It's not the wealthiest country, but they've produced. I know a guy, actually, he's my brother-in-law. He played Wimbledon. I don't know if you know Junior Wimbledon. Yeah, I know. Played Wimbledon. Junior French Open straight out of Burundi. From nothing. But the talent is out there, man. The talent is out there. The players are out there. It's just I don't know, maybe the media or the exposure. The exposure, and the knowledge. Like me talking to you now, now know that tennis is a thing. You can put your kid in tennis if you move back home to Nigeria.
Right.
I have a lot of good friends from Nigeria that play tennis that are now in the United States.
Wow.
Playing college, some tried pro, some are now coaches here in the US. So it's pretty popular.
Yeah, I would say I never saw anybody play tennis until I saw people play ping pong, but table tennis, but I never saw anybody play tennis until I got to the States. And I remember the first time you tell me, I was like, what? Like you play tennis? I was just so surprised because I've actually never met anyone. But thank you for sharing that history. Yeah. So do you think Burundi is like the second most popular country that have produced tennis athletes apart from Zimbabwe? Because I think you guys have produced the most currently.
Not really, not Zimbabwe. I think the most, I would give it probably to South Africa.
Really?
South Africa has had really good players. They have players that are in the top 10 right now. Tunisia is up there. Egypt is up there. Morocco is up there. I could go on and on, but each continent has somewhat produced, top 10 professional, like quality top 100, if not top 10 in the world. That's a big deal.
Right.
Even top 100 in the world on the professional side of things is a big deal. So across the globe, from north to south to east to west Africa, there's been
Talent
really
all
good
around.
talent all around.
People
man.
just don't know about it.
Oh yeah, people just don't know about it. I mean, I've got that. People ask me, "Oh, well, you went to Gonzaga?" "Oh yeah, I did go. What did you play? Soccer? Were you a soccer player?" "No." Then I'll say, "Guess." "Oh, you ran track?" "No." "Played basketball?" "No, I mean, I'm 5'6". "No, I didn't play basketball." "So what did you play?" Tennis?" So they shocked, like, tennis,
Right.
out of all the sports, how did you get into it? Then they're all like curious about it. Fair enough, but it's a popular sport all across the continent. It's a popular
Right.
sport. It's just not your everyday sport where you
right.
get up and you play tennis. It requires hours and hours and thousands of hours and days and years to become great.
Yeah, I read the Andre Agassi book. It's one.
Oh
of the books
yeah.
that
That was a
opened-
good book.
It's a
The
really
Open,
good book.
yeah.
It opens my eyes to.
When did you read it?
I read it maybe in 2016. I think.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the first book I read because I had
Uh-huh.
nothing. I didn't know nothing about tennis.
Yeah.
And, well, I watched like the Williams sisters, or whatever. But I've never actually
yeah,
sit down
yeah.
and know how the set goes. And
Uh-huh.
in the book, it was kind of explaining, how intense the training just to become a professional tennis player is. It's crazy.
Miles and miles and miles of running.
So let's go back to when you were 9 years old or 8 years old, that you were in this academy, you're seeing all these people. So before you were able to represent your country, Zimbabwe, on the national scale, I'm assuming you were junior at the time, right? You were representing a junior tournament.
Yeah.
So do you have is that a tournament that you have to play, or how does that happen?
Good question. Yeah, good question. So, they have the 10s and under, 12s and under, 14 and under, 16 and under, and then 18 and under.
Right.
So it goes from 10, 12, 14, 16, and then 18. And then 18, you're done with junior tennis.
Right.
So when I was 8, you'd outplay these local tournaments and you get ranked. You play a tournament in, let's say, Lagos, for example. Then you
Out
play
of the country?
No, I'm giving an example.
Okay,
like,
right.
like locally. So
Okay.
for me, it will be like in Mutare, there will be a tournament.
Right.
That's where I'm from, right?
Right.
Then there'll be another tournament in Harare, the
Right.
capital city.
Right.
Then there'll be another tournament in like Bulawayo, which is another city
Right.
in Zimbabwe. So you play all these local tournaments, and if you do good, you get points and you get ranked in the country.
Right.
So I think since I was like 10 years old until I was 18, I was always in the top 3 in the country. So top 3 in the country, which is pretty solid.
Wow.
So, and the more you stay in that range, top 1, 3, 5, you're basically saying you are the best
In the
top
country.
3 in the country. So when there are opportunities to travel and represent the country, you're most likely to go. If there are 5 players going, you'll go. If there are 2 players going, and if you're number 3, then you play challenge matches. Or sometimes it has to do with work ethic or talent or anything of that sort, where they will decide maybe he goes, maybe, or they will, the coaches, it'll be up to the coaches.
Right.
But when I was 8, I started representing the country at 10s and under. Would go to South Africa, play some national junior tournaments. When I was 12, same thing. And then when I was 14, played the African Junior Championships. I actually played in Lagos one time. No,
Yeah.
Abuja.
Yeah, you
It
told
was
me.
hot. It was hot.
It was
man.
hot.
Hot and humid.
So is it harder than Zimbabwe?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Abuja is hard, I think.
At 12, I remember this. At 12, in the afternoon, we had to stop playing. Between 12 and 2, we were taught to go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Unbearable.
Yeah,
It wasn't good for people to be on the tennis
I
court
was
at
only
that
in
time.
Abuja when I was actually coming for my interview to come to the States.
Uh-huh.
But I remember it does get cold there,
Yeah.
and also cold like for us. I mean, I don't know
of course, yeah.
how cold it is now that we've seen real cold in Spokane,
uh-huh.
But it also does get hot.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
Thank you for explaining that. So
Yeah.
now that you're representing the country, so do you remember, or can you count how many total countries do you visited in Africa?
Man,
Or estimate.
So since I was 12 or 14, I always represented Zimbabwe. 12 or 14, yeah, Zimbabwe at the African Junior Tennis Championships. It's a big thing. It's like almost NBA playoffs of in the US, in the tennis world,
Right.
right? In Africa, it's a big thing, the African Junior Tennis Championships. And those get held, once a year in a different country every year. Okay. So besides those, I've also participated in, the local international tennis tournaments,
right,
where you get a world ranking if you advance to the
right.
next round. But if I remember well, I'm in South Africa, played in South Africa, played in Namibia, Botswana, played in Morocco, Davis Cup, which is a big thing. Davis Cup is when you play against other countries, like World Cup in tennis.
Right.
Yeah, so I played that it was in Egypt. In Cairo. It was hot. Played in Morocco, played in, where else? Kenya, Nigeria. Played in Burundi, Tanzania, Rwanda. Yeah, man. I think that's what I can remember.
Yeah, no worries.
There's probably some other, but that's what I can remember.
I counted right 11 countries. Out of all these countries, you actually 12 with South Africa. You actually South Africa. So let's say 12 countries. Which one is your favorite that you visited, if you can remember?
In terms of where I always did best, where I played my best tennis, it was in Botswana for some reason. Yeah, and why I say this is when I was 16, we played the African Junior Championships, and Botswana was hosting it. Right, when I was 16, and what happens is usually at 16 and under. Right. If you make the top 3 of the tournament, it's more than 40, 50 players in the draw. It starts at first round, second round, third round, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. Right. But if you make it to the semifinals or finals, you have the chance of being selected to represent Africa, not just your country, but Africa.
If you win.
If you make it in the top 4.
Top 4. Okay.
And usually they send only 2 players. Okay. So this one tournament when I was 16, African Junior Championships in Botswana, I played really well. Again, it was in Botswana. That's why I like it. And then fast forward, I got selected to represent Africa as a continent because I was number 2 in the whole continent at that age. So they sent us, me and this other guy from Tunisia. And another guy from Morocco. The 3 of us were the top 3 in Africa, so they sent us to Europe for about 3 months representing Africa. Wow. So that was a really good experience. That's very rare though. Only a few players who have made it to that level. Right. It's a big accomplishment. I bet. It's a big accomplishment.
Like you're representing our whole continent.
The whole continent, man, not just the country. So I was really, it was a tough tournament, a lot of it was just hard, but I'm just glad I was able to have that experience.
Is it a tournament that you guys were going to?
Yeah, so after being selected, the tournament ends, and then after a week or so, the International Tennis Federation put together a world team. Okay. Where they say, send us the top players in Africa. 3 boys, 3 girls. Oh. They will tell Europe, send us the top 3 boys, 3 girls, tennis players in Europe. They'll tell Asia. Then they'll tell Australia. Wow. And then they'll pick a location. So when I played it was in Italy. So they sent us to Italy for 3 months. And we were competing in local tournaments in Europe, like mainly Italy. Well, we traveled to different cities in Italy, like Vavasori, Crema, and all these other. But that's in the junior tennis world. Those are elite tournaments.
And you were 16 at the time?
And I was 16 at the time.
How was that?
It was tough. It was good. I didn't do so well, but it was just a good experience. I was playing against, when I came to college, most of the kids I played then in Europe, I saw them, I played against them when I was playing at Gonzaga. I played against because they went to play at other D1 colleges here in the US. So it was funny recognizing, I remember this guy, I remember that guy, I remember this guy. And some are already playing professional tennis right now. They did well. From there, they just kind of picked up. But that experience really was the highlight of my whole tennis career, to be honest. Well, I did some other great things when I came here, but in my junior tennis career, that was the highlight of it. That was a huge accomplishment, and it's one of those things that you don't get to experience all the time.
Right.
But
Very special.
with hard work, man, it was possible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But apart from a country that you enjoy, that you visit, that you win at, like what I was trying to ask is, if you have to pick one place that you can visit to just enjoy and relax in Africa, since not every Africans have been able to kind of experience what you experience. Because I want to visit other countries, but I've not visited 12. I want to visit one.
Right. That makes sense.
So where's your favorite place right now? If you have to just go right now, go visit.
Go visit right now. That question is hard because whenever I traveled, it wasn't really for enjoyment. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was literally either on the tennis court, or I'm in a team meeting, or I'm in my hotel room, or I'm training, or I'm stretching, or I'm warming up, or I'm eating dinner with the team. Oh, they said, okay, get an hour, go to the mall, we'll go walk around. So we didn't really get to do much. Like, you'd get to a city, then you go around in stores. We'll do that, but maybe 1 or 2 days in 12 days.
Right.
But if I were to pick, honestly, if I was to go back, I like Nigeria.
Really?
I like Nigeria.
I like
Nigeria. I like the food. I like
good.
Nigeria. But I was very young when I went to Nigeria, though. I think I was 13 or 14.
Right.
In the tennis world, it's pretty fairly young. So,
right.
But with what I know now,
right,
if I were to go back, right, I'll enjoy myself.
You have a good time in Lagos.
But Nigeria is up there. East Africa was fun too. Kenya, Rwanda, right, Burundi. The East African culture is nice. Good people. I think if I would recommend, if you haven't been to East Africa.
I haven't been to Kenya.
Yeah, Kenya is beautiful. Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania is beautiful. Zanzibar there.
You've been to Zanzibar?
Yeah, Tanzania. We played the tournament there, I think.
Oh,
if I remember well.
That's one of my favorite places in the world. I want to go to is Zanzibar.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So now let's go back to your home country. So
yes.
Zimbabwe is probably one of the biggest news from Zimbabwe is Victoria Falls. Yes, right.
Tourist.
So, have you been? I'm assuming. Have you been there?
I've never been to Victoria Falls, man. I promise. That's more of like luxury, though.
Really?
Like growing up, those things are for tourists, man.
Right.
But I mean, now that I'm here, if I was to do life again,
right,
go back and live my childhood again, that's one place I would probably ask my parents to take you. Can we please drive? Because it's far. It's not close to where I'm from, my city.
How long?
Oh man, a couple hours. More than 7 for sure. I think 5 or 7, which is not that much of driving.
But at home, that's a lot, bro.
Yeah, but at home it's a lot because the roads are not all I-90, so it's a long drive. But no, I've never been to Victoria Falls, man.
Wow, that's interesting. So that lead me to my other question then. So what other tourist attraction or what other place in Zimbabwe do you think people should know about that is not as popular as Victoria Falls?
Victoria Falls. Oh, man. Well, Victoria Falls, that whole... it's a city, actually.
It's a city?
Victoria Falls. Oh. It's a city, yeah. So they have so many other places to visit, like national parks and all that stuff. Yeah. And then we have Vumba in Mutare, where I'm from. It's like Eastern Highlands, tropical, outdoors. People who like hiking, horseback riding. Nyanga is another place. So there's Vumba in Mutare. There's Nyanga.
Right.
There's all these national parks. Matopo Hills.
Do they have like safaris and stuff?
Oh yeah, everything.
Oh, you guys have wild animals?
Oh yeah.
We don't have any in Nigeria.
Oh yeah, wild animals. Sometimes I remember this when I was driving. I think I was going to practice or coming from practice from tennis. Like you have to wait and giraffes just cross.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, elephants break through your backyard. Sometimes you can wake up and there are elephants just roaming. They've broke through the national park, crossing through your backyard.
No
and
way, man.
it's kind of cool. Now that I'm here looking back, it's not something to take for granted, you know. But when you're there, you're like, these animals are destroying my house, you know. You're like,
You're not the only one. I
Yeah.
think you need to get away from home to appreciate home.
Yes, I
I
think so.
didn't appreciate home until when I was
100%.
home.
Yeah.
We were complaining. You haven't have something to compare it to.
Yeah.
When you get here and you're like, oh my god, that is so cool.
Uh-huh.
So you said Mumba and
Vumba.
Vumba.
Mhm.
And what's the other one?
Nyanga,
Yanga. How do you spell the Vumba?
VUMBA.
MBA.
Yeah,
And
Vumba.
then
Vumba is nice.
the second one. How do you?
Nyanga.
Nyanga?
NYANGA.
Okay.
NYA.
And is that a city or is that a national park?
Nyanga. It's almost like I think it's a city, and they have a lot of tourist attractions in there. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I didn't really get to do that kind of stuff. Like tennis basically was my life, to be honest. You know, starting at the age 6, 7 to play at that level, basically you kind of have to give up a lot of things. You know, I basically left home when I was 13 to go, because I got a scholarship to train at the International Tennis Federation Center, which is like the elite center where they train all the top junior African players. You know, so we'd be living with people, some kids from Morocco. They would handpick a few from all over Africa and basically give you a scholarship to train and travel and do school. So we're on the road, different countries, different provinces, school, homeschooling, school on the road, school on the plane, school in a hotel room, tournaments, tennis, this. So I'd only get to go home once or twice a year.
Wow.
Christmas time, you know, see family for 2 weeks, then I'm back. So that was my life. So I also want to go to these national parks, man. one day. So now when I go home, that's what I do. So I try to go home at least once a year. You know, I still go back home.
Catch up
here.
on
Yeah. Now that I go home with the family, let's go somewhere. You know, let's redo this whole childhood thing.
Right.
So yeah, you kind of have to. It's either that or you have to pick one. You can't do both.
You're just, you're just kind of pointing on it. Like I'm a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about helping people to kind of be better.
Yeah.
Just do that transition of like, creating good habits and all that. But I'm not a professional on your level. So can you give me, or can you give the people that are listening, like a little taste? It's like, what does it take to be a professional at something?
Well, I can't say I'm an elite athlete, but I did play at a very high level. You know, as a junior tennis player, and also in college, play for D1, Division 1 tennis. That's the highest level of competition in the United States, right? And personally, I think everything for me was mostly, number one was like mindset. Like it's all in your head, right? If you can tell yourself that you can do something, you can do it.
Right.
Number one is mindset. Number two, is hard work. I'm a firm believer of hard work never goes unnoticed, right? So I think about it as a jar, or as like a water bottle, as a container. If you work hard today, 2%, you put it in your jar. You work hard the next day, you put it in your jar. Eventually, that jar is going to be very full. It accumulates, compound. It's called compound effect, right? And it will pay off, right? It will pay off definitely. I don't think any hard work with the right mindset will ever go unnoticed. So mindset, positive mindset, obviously believing that you can do it, and then working hard for it, number two. And then of course number three is discipline, right? To do the same thing over and over again without losing interest.
So what is the sacrifice that after you have those three things, then you have to sacrifice some things? What are the things that you have to sacrifice to be
childhood, man. I didn't watch cartoons. Like now, it's funny because when I talk to friends and they're talking about all these childhood cartoons and Disney and all that, I don't know any of that. I didn't watch cartoons growing up. I was on the tennis court.
You want to tennis? What skill is the hardest to learn is tennis? That's the question.
I think so, yeah. The skill that's the hardest to learn. I think in tennis, all skills starting from the technique, right? It starts with the technique.
Right.
Before you even go anywhere, you need to learn how to hit the ball the right way. Right? Because if you don't at a young age, it gets hard. It gets hard. So first, I would say how to hit the ball the right way. That takes maybe 2 years.
Okay.
To just perfect that skill, just that.
Right.
And then secondly, I would say the toughest thing is the mental. Tennis, people think it's a physical game, but it's a mental game. You have to be so mentally strong. You have no idea. It's probably one of the most mentally challenging sport in the world.
Andre Agassi book said that.
Yeah.
He said you're on an island. You don't have it.
It's not a team sport.
Yeah, you have to kind of be there.
It's just you in there for hours and hours in a match. Sometimes matches take 3 hours. You have to make decisions. Tennis is not a sport where you have 10 seconds to make a decision. That ball is going so fast, you have less than a split second to decide where you're going to hit the ball. So at that higher level of tennis, so it's a mental game. You have to be mentally strong. And of course, if you have the technique, you don't even think about it when you're hitting the ball, because you have mastered the basics of the sport, which is the back and the forehand, the basic strokes. And with the right mindset, and you have to be physically strong. Like,
what part of your body do you need to train the most?
Legs, man. Legs, core. A lot of core. Yeah, you're swinging and swinging and swinging. Everything you're swinging, you're moving. Because tennis, you never hit the ball in the same spot. You're always moving. You're there. So it all bundles up. I can't really say there is an easy part to learn, because every single element of the sport comes with its own challenges.
Right.
But of course, like I say, the basic thing will be learning how to hit the ball,
right,
which is their technique. And then the tactic is where to hit the ball.
Right.
That comes with its own period where you have to learn how to, where to hit the ball in order to win points, games, sets, matches. And then a lot of physical, strenuous exercises and fitness to become mentally strong. When you go through those fitness drills and all those, the running, everything, you're really training your mind
to kind of know how to go
beyond being tired. Because in tennis, you get to a point where you're tired, but you don't stop. There's no timeout in tennis like basketball. Timeout, and then people chill for like, I don't know, a minute or so. In tennis, you get breaks, after a game. But if you're tired during a game, it's 15-0, 30-30. You can't say timeout.
Right.
You're cramping. Sometimes I've played matches where I'm literally like on one leg, I'm cramping, but you can't stop. So it's a mental game. Then you have to tune into your mental and just tell yourself, like, I know you're tired, but there's no option. You just have to push through it. It becomes mental. And you have nobody but yourself in there. Sometimes a coach on the sidelines or outside on the bench cheering you on. Or sometimes the fans. I've played with there are hundreds of people, cheering on, and that helps.
Right.
That helps, playing with a big crowd. But I would say, yeah, the technique is a big thing in tennis. The mental is a big thing, and then the physical in that way. Learn how to hit the ball the right way, be mentally strong, and just be physically strong.
That's amazing.
And that transition to life, actually, if you think about it in a way, because for me, even right now, you've been to my house, right? You saw my gym. I still train as if I have a scholarship to defend. Personally.
So you never lose
when
that.
I work out, it's part of me. That's who I am. And with anything I do in life, really, that's how I approach life. I approach life with the same mentality that I can do it. Like I was telling you, it's belief, right? You believe you can do it, and then you work hard. The hard work comes in, and then the discipline to do it over and over and over and over until you achieve your goal. Because it worked.
Like you've seen it worked, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I do life, and even the working out part, like I was telling you, I still work out as if I have a scholarship that I'm defending. A coach is behind me saying, hey, if you don't do that last rep, your scholarship is done. That's how I see myself when I'm doing something, just because that discipline of, I don't know, just working out in all elements of life. It can be sport, it can be working out, it can be work, it can be life in general, it can be financial, it's all elements of life, really. That hard work and the mindset and the dedication, the discipline outside of social life,
Right.
that mindset has really, it takes you so far you don't even know. It's more than just a sport to
Right.
me. It has just developed me to be just this whole different person that it's not a skill you can go in Walmart and buy. You know what I mean?
It takes years to create.
Years, man, decades. I played tennis since I was 6. I'm 20. How old am I? 26, I think. 27, 26, July. More than 20 years.
It took you 20 years.
I mean, it's been 20 years.
Wow,
I
it's
still
been
play. I
I mean,
still play.
since 6.
Yeah,
Wow.
I still play. So it takes time.
Are you aware of the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours idea? It's like
I've heard about it. But
it takes 10,000 hours to be a pro. So you already
yes, it's true.
If you do something for 10,000 hours, you'll be successful.
I don't doubt that. 100%.
So how many miles do you think an average tennis player runs in a match?
I wish I could ask Google right now. Or see.
But I'm just saying for you, like, what do you have to guess?
Man, I've played a match for more than 4 hours, where I'm constantly moving. Right. So now imagine if you are constantly running for 4 hours. How many miles are those?
Yeah, that's
non-stop.
Almost a marathon. That's almost a marathon, bro.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
So if you think how much is a marathon, like,
so like, do you have to eat a lot before your games?
That's a good question. You should eat a lot. You should eat a lot, right? You should not a lot, but you should.
You need carbs, right?
Yeah, you should eat healthy, right? You should eat healthy. But growing up, remember, we didn't really had it like that, bro. Where you could, grab a banana here, some mineral water or anything. We just kind of, sometimes I would play matches without eating.
Oh my God.
And empty stomach, but I would win matches against people who have had 3 meals just because I was there knowing what the reason why I was there was to win matches. No matter what, I didn't think about my stomach. I didn't think about, oh, I'm hungry, I might faint here. Or I didn't think about any of that. And it didn't really affect me. Maybe if I ate, I would have performed better. Maybe. Right. But I told myself, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right?
It doesn't matter. If I get to eat, great. If I don't, I don't. But the goal I'm here is to get on the tennis court and win matches. And I have prepared that by the amount of hours I've put in the court before I came to this tournament. That's all that mattered to me. But to answer your question, nutrition did matter.
It does matter. It does now. Matter. Yeah, now
that I know, if I have kids and they get into a sport, I'm going to tell them, if you're not hungry, or I didn't like eating before matches because I don't know if when before match you kind of feel tired, you're scared, the pressure, So you basically do what works for you. For me, eating was not what worked for me.
It doesn't work for me.
I actually like to go in a match hungry. Because I need to remind me of like,
wow, that's smart.
You know what I mean? Like, you're hungry, man. You better win.
You better win. Well, I was gonna say, I try to work out in the morning too. I've noticed that if I eat before working out, my stomach is too full.
Yeah.
And then I think blood goes into your stomach to digest your food, and you don't have the maximum output. Some people say they like it in the evening, but I like waking up, like you say, hungry in the morning, get my workout done.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna give you a scenario right now. Yeah. Let's say you're in a game. It's tied. You're 6-6. All right, you're tired. You're stressed. Do you have any routine that you do to kind of, or like a self? How do you do the self talk? Because you're saying a lot have to be mental, whatever. Yeah. And I do self talk too. Yeah, when I'm in the gym. And it's for example, today I'm really tired. I went to the gym. I didn't want to go. I keep pushing it out, but I find a way to kind of self-talk it. So do you do like anything like meditation, or what do you do since you're a young age to kind of push through that?
During
or before? What are the things that you do?
Before a match, usually you develop a routine, right? It can be running a mile, slow, steady pace, right? And then stretch, do your aerobic stretches just to get your blood going, listen to your favorite songs, kind of get in the mood, right? Get in the hype. Right. Just like any other athlete, right? Get in the zone, right? Talk to your coach, get some tips and tricks. If your routine is talking to your mom on the phone for 5 minutes, some players do that.
Right.
You know, they make that call, hey Miles, you going da da da, or hey Pops, or whatever, or call your best friend. You know, it makes you laugh, kind of gets you off that tightness of just
That stress.
thinking, yeah, stress, right? So you do what you gotta do. For me personally, man, I didn't really have something set in stone. I mean, for sure, I like running. I like to sweat a lot, so I would run even 2 miles before a match.
Really?
And this is before maybe some matches would take 3 hours.
I was gonna say,
But
yeah.
I was just in that shape, right? Like tennis
Right.
is physically strong. I don't think there is. You're just a beast. Like physically, you have to be at that level. You have to be. So running a 2 mile to warm up or like a mile, it's nothing. It's pretty normal.
Right.
And then just do some stretches, self-talk, listen to music. That's what I like to do. Listen to some music, do some shadowing. Pretend as if I'm on the tennis court. Pretend as if I'm playing a point. Construct points in my own head. Visualize. Visualizing was a big thing for me too. I would basically play a match in my own head. I'd be standing there, visualizing how the points are gonna go. Anyway, and then talk to friends. I just like to chill.
Yeah.
Chill, talk to friends, talk to the boys. Hang out and stuff, and then.
I mean, the visualizing is part of meditation, bro.
Yeah, it's big time.
So how long do you do that for? Is it like 10 minutes, 20
Visualizing is usually when I'm running.
Ooh,
when I was running that mile, I'll be talking to myself. I'll be telling myself all the positive things in the world. I'll be telling myself, you're a champion. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You're a champion. You're the best. Da 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 da. And by the time I'm done with the one mile run, I've talked so many positive things to myself that when you get out there, even if things are not going well, you're at a high note. You have all these positive things that you can use to kind of change the game in a way. But that was before. And then during a match, things are tight. The only thing I remember is the hard work I put in. Because like I told you, I'm a firm believer of hard work. If everybody's working at 100%, I work at 101 with everything. I'm not perfect, obviously.
Right.
I have my days that I'm like, but for the most part, anything that I do, it can be friendship, it can be family, it can be working out. I'm a believer. This is my rule of thumb. If everybody's giving 100%, but I want to be better. If I want to be better, I have to give 101, 102. So when I get on that tennis court, this was when I used to play, I always believed I'm better than anybody. Because I always put in 101, because you put in 100, which is great.
Right, it's
right?
good.
100 is good. That's the goal, right? Like everybody should give 100%. Give 100. Why are you giving 90? Give 100%. 100% to me is not good enough because everybody puts 100%. You know what I mean? So that extra 1% that I'll put, that extra rep, that extra lap, everybody's tired. Coach says go run 10 laps. I'll go and run 11 laps. Even when I work out. The workout program says do 5 sets of 10 reps. I do 11 reps. Because if you're doing 10, I'm doing 10, who's better? We're both on the same level. You know what I mean?
So you need an edge.
You need an edge. Well, that's how I think. That's how I just operate, And my coach also told me that, go an extra mile. It'll pay. It'll pay off. It'll pay off, and it does pay off. I'm a living testimony. So during a match, that's all I thought about. I would think, hey, this guy did great. He did put in 100% during his season when he was training, but you put 101. So there's no
to walk like that, move like that.
Yeah, I put in more work than anybody. I like working hard. I like work. I'm just a worker, bro.
Right.
I'm a worker, and I believe hard work never goes unnoticed, and hard work never goes unrewarded. There are situations, where you grow up, resources, but really with the right mindset and the right work ethic, you go places, bro. Yeah.
So now let's move to the toughest decision you told me you have to make, which is after you were put in a dilemma after you explained to me the first time I met you that after you play for a little while, maybe you can explain to it, you have to make a decision to either go pro or to come to America for college.
Right.
So can you give a little background story about that?
Yeah. So how tennis works, when you get to 18,
right?
When you get to 18, you basically have to decide whether you want to continue playing professional
Okay.
or come to college.
Right.
The reason why is the NCAA, which is the National College Association,
Yeah, I know.
the governing board of college
Right.
college sports in the US, basically. They restrict, oh yeah,
I got you.
they restricted at 18. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So the dilemma was, if I continue playing, then I can play college. Right.
Once you turn 18,
When you
right?
turn 18, you can still play after 18 if you play professional,
Right.
but you have to sit out. You get redshirt. You see people who redshirt
Okay.
on a team is because, stuff like that. So to me, really, I also wanted to focus on my education. As much as I like tennis, I always wanted to get an education, and through athletic scholarships, I was aware of that. It's a thing that is very common around the tennis world, and also I'm sure soccer, all these other sports. People know about D1, D2, D3. You can play for a school, get a scholarship, get your stuff paid for, and all that good stuff. So to me, it wasn't really hard. I was basically saying, if I still want to play after, at least I've got my education paid for.
Right.
And I'm in the States at this point, more resources, obviously, more tournaments, like professional tournaments around. So if I ever choose to continue playing, at least I have my education. It's a win-win situation.
For you think that was?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So you can still sign up for tournaments even though you were in college?
There is a fine line, right? There is a fine line. Maybe off-season.
Oh, okay.
In the summers, you could play, but you couldn't receive money. It's against the NCAA rules, right?
Stupid.
Yeah, so
It's stupid rule, I think.
I mean, it's changed now.
Yeah, I heard it's
changed. So
now.
players are getting paid. Players are getting endorsements in college.
That's amazing.
And all that good stuff. Wrong timing for us, but
right.
Because I'm done. But,
right.
But yeah, but that's good. It's good for the players. They deserve it. They deserve it. But yeah, for me, it really was get an education and continue playing. And then if you ever want to continue playing even after college, you can always do that. But at least I've done with school. I'm also a firm believer in education. I think we should all get some sort of education somewhere, somehow, whatever you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be a 4-year college or like this or that, but
educate yourself.
Nobody can ever take that away from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It can be reading books. It can be documentaries. I don't know. Whatever you're passionate about, just educate yourself about that.
Right.
So, yeah. So that was the journey. And then a couple schools, started reaching out. At that time, I was ranked, I think, 300 in the world, which is pretty big.
Right.
There are more than 1 million tennis players in the world. So I was ranked top 300 and about 300 or something like that. And, different schools were reaching out. Hey, we've been watching you and would you want to come play for us, full scholarship? Hey, but I had never been to the States though. So I didn't really know what South Carolina was or what Kansas was. You know what I mean? All I knew was Vegas and Miami. So I was like, if a coach says from Florida, I'm down. I'll come play for you. So yeah, man. So anything else, as long as you give me 100% scholarship, I'm good. I didn't really care about the location because I didn't really know much,
Right.
Back then, we didn't really have internet like that, where you could look up places and, be all choosy and stuff. Whatever that came, you take. So, yeah, a couple offers came in, and then eventually I chose one of the schools that I started playing for. It was a Division I junior college in Kansas.
Kansas City?
Kansas, yeah.
Missouri?
No, Kansas. Kansas, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I'd never been to Kansas, obviously.
How was that?
Oh, an experience. An experience. But it was great.
Really?
It was great. I would not have done it any other way.
Really?
100%.
How long were you there for?
So it's a junior college, and a lot of players that play tennis in Zimbabwe, I think, we have more than 2 to 300 that are in the States that came through tennis.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's huge. That's a
lot of
huge.
numbers.
Yeah, just Zimbabwe. Just
Wow.
Zimbabwe. And
That's
think
crazy.
about all the other countries, a lot of tennis players. So anyway, long story short, I arrived at Dallas. That was the first city I arrived in the United States. So I see all the buildings, like, oh, this is nice.
Right.
And then I think this is where I'm going to be, but it was not. So the coach arrives with the van and, he's on the lookout with the card. So I get off the airport. I've traveled, at that time I traveled a lot. So it wasn't anything new. Right. I was just looking for the coach. So I see the coach. Oh, that's the coach with the card, Ronzai. Okay, cool. Then he tells me, oh, we're waiting for... there were 2 players from Argentina that were joining me with that class, and there was another guy from France. So those were the international student athletes on the tennis team. Right. So we drove all the way from Kansas, which was like 12 hours, I think, or even more.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. With the van, the athletic vans, whatever. So we drive back to Kansas. Long story short, get settled in school. First,
How big is the school?
It's junior college.
Junior college wasn't that big. It was partially perfect for you transitioning, right?
Exactly. So, what I was getting to, I think I was telling you something, was when I was talking to some of the guys who had already been here, and some coaches, some would say, oh, go to a junior college. Why? Because the classes are smaller.
Right.
And, you basically settle in. It's more relaxed.
It's more chill.
It's not 20, 30,000
people, right?
Campers,
It's not crazy parties. It's not nothing crazy.
It's more laid back, and you get to ease into it. Even though the tennis was competitive, it was a Division 1 junior college, but man, I would not have had it any other way. The experience was great. The community, smaller places, usually the community is stronger. You get a lot of support.
Is people of color a lot in Kansas? Is there a lot of people of color in Kansas, or at least
not really? I mean, on the tennis team, we were mostly international.
School doesn't count because school is where people are coming in. But I'm saying in the city,
no, it's more like Caucasian, Latinos.
Is there a lot of farmland and all that?
Oh yeah,
because Kansas is flat, right?
It's flat. Farmlands, bro. Cows. We had an abattoir where they prepare processed cows and stuff. Oh man, you would smell it every single morning. It will remind you where you are. It's like Kansas.
Shout out to Kansas.
Shout out to Kansas. But the experience though, amazing experience, man. The coach was good. It was great. Great group of guys though. We were all freshmen at that time. Basically, the program was being rebuilt.
Right.
And we worked hard, man. I worked hard. For me, like I told you, my rule, right? That never changed. So I got out there, worked. And long story short, fast forward to when it came to the National Junior Championships, the JUCOs,
JUCO here in America.
Here in America, Division 1, it's basically NCAA's for basketball, the championships.
Right.
We qualified, my partner and I.
When's the last time they went to the playoff?
They never for the first time in school history.
That's amazing.
So it's actually an interesting story. So we go out there. First round, we play the top seeds. It's basically playing like Gonzaga first round in basketball, Kentucky or something. And then basically my coach was like, yeah, you guys are basically done. You're not gonna win. Yeah, because I mean it's an obvious.
Right.
We're underdogs, real underdogs. Never been to the national championships before.
But you've been here. You've been in tournaments.
I've been somewhere, and I've been putting in the work that I was telling you about. Like when we were training, the coach was tough with fitness though. In Kansas, when I was in Kansas, the coach was really tough.
At the gym.
At the gym, tough on the tennis court. The fitness on the gym.
Yeah,
it was tough.
I'm curious. We'll talk about that at a time. I'm curious to kind of see some of the drills you guys do, but maybe that will be like a private conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll be happy to.
Yeah, I'll show you some. I want to see some.
So yeah, fast forward, we had the tournament, man, and the coach is basically like, "I guys are done. You're not really gonna." So I'm motivating my partner. It was doubles,
right?
You play with a partner.
Right.
And long story short, we upset the top seeds, the guys who are the dudes,
right?
The
main guys.
The main guys, man. kicked them out of the first round, and before you know it, we're in the finals. Before
Wow.
you know it, we won the whole thing.
You won the whole thing the first year.
National champion
Wow.
in the whole country.
That's amazing, bro.
Never been done at the school. It
Wow.
was the first national
your first
champion.
time. Well, no, your first time in America.
Yes, as a freshman.
Wow.
Freshman national championship. So they do a whole press thing, you know, when we. Anyway, it was also another moment of realization of what I believe is not really. I'm not crazy for believing what I believe.
Right.
I believe in hard work, and I believe in 101% in everything I do. If not 102, if not 103.
Right.
Because that's what I was doing during the season to get ready for these championships. And it came down to the wire. You know, the matches were tough. But the more we advanced forward, we got comfortable, and we knew we deserved to be there because we've put in the work.
You
So
weren't
hard
phased
work,
by it.
you never go wrong, man. Hard work with the right mindset, it's a win-win situation. So cruised the whole thing, won the national championship, first in school history. And when we got back, they put a whole big banner in the gym, in the basketball arena with our names. And even if you go there now, there's a big picture of me in the gym.
Wow.
Because it's all like first in school history.
Right, first in school, yeah.
They do that for all national champions. If you win a national championship in track,
Right, they'll
your
do that
name
too.
and your face is going to be in the gym forever.
Wow.
Your kids and your grandkids can go and see that.
Wow.
So I still need to take a couple of friends down to Kansas. So if you want to go to Kansas,
I got you, bro. It might be with you.
if you want to go to Kansas, bro, we can take a trip to Kansas.
I would say if you're ever passing through, you know.
Exactly.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, pass through the school, you'll see it there.
All right. So how did you transition from Kansas to Gonzaga?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So at that point, I think we're ranked number one. I was ranked in singles where you play by yourself. I was top 5 in the nation, in the country.
And what year were you talking about?
Freshman and sophomore year, I think.
Like 20.
Oh, what year? Oh,
Yeah.
20. So I came to the States 2013 as a
Right.
freshman in August. So that was probably 2014.
Right.
2014.
This is very recent. It's not
Yeah,
that long
it's
ago.
not too old.
That's crazy.
2014. Always stayed top 5, top 10, top 5, top 3. At some point, I was number 1.
Right.
So then all these schools, they are looking.
Right.
You know their whole process, right? Transferring from a junior college to a D1 school. Yeah. So, you know, doing my school, obviously. And then when it came time to transfer, I'm done. You know, done with junior college, done with my 2 years, did well. A lot of coaches were reaching out. Hey, we've been watching you. Same thing when I was 18, right? They'll reach out, hey, we've been watching you and would want you to come play for us. At that point, I had somewhat knowledge, right, of like what Texas is,
Right.
what Miami is,
Right.
not Miami, but what Florida is, what
You've kind of explored a little bit.
Alabama is. I've kind of been around a little bit. We traveled a lot too, playing. The national championships were actually in Florida when we won that, and we played the following year. They were in what was it? Not Alabama, but South Carolina.
Right.
So we had been around at that point, and the coach will also come and say, hey, you know, start looking at some potential schools that you could go to. Here's what South Carolina is, and here the type of school. Here's the type of education you should look into.
Right.
Are they this? Are they that? So at that point, I was really going for more of better in education.
Okay.
More than
Tennis.
The tennis, it had to be a Division 1.
Right.
I wasn't going to play, Division 2 or Division 3. It had to be like Division 1, the best division, like the top division. But the school was a big thing for me. So I got offers South Carolina, I think, and I can't remember. There were a few of them. Sometimes my coach wouldn't even get to me because my coach would have already told the coach like, no, my player's not coming to play there. But the few that got to me, Gonzaga was one, and I forgot the school, but it was South Carolina, Texas. I think I had 2 offers in Texas, and these are all full rides. Like they will basically pay for everything. But Gonzaga was the one that that I picked just because the education.
So it wasn't because of Spokane or anything.
No, I had no idea what Spokane was. It was just the education. They are well known. Well, they are internationally recognized, and you can literally just Google Gonzaga, and the first thing that will come out is how good they are with
School.
with
It's a very small school too.
Private school.
Hard to get into.
Hard to get into. School is really, really hard in there. So
the school is hard.
Oh, it was really hard.
Wow.
Really hard. But the fact that it was a private school, good education, and we kind of had to go back and forth until they offered me 100. They would start, 90. I say, no, thank you, I'm not doing 90. They was, okay. 90. I'm like, okay, if you're not gonna. So then eventually, it worked out. Got a full ride, and came over to Spokane. Then that was a whole new journey.
That's how I met you, bro.
Yeah.
I think we played soccer together last year.
Yeah,
I think at Gonzaga. Yeah.
I used to play when the schedule was nice. Now
it's all crazy.
Go crazy. But.
So I want us to end with something that's gonna like kind of paint a good picture, because I think you've kind of educated me. Even me, I'm listening to you talk about 100%, because I mean I have to talk myself into doing things I don't want to do just to be better. But I think I've always admired athletes, LeBron James, Messi, Ronaldo over Messi. I like people that just work hard. I love people that just work hard at their craft to be better. But the first time I met you too, you also told me about how you said, when I asked you like, why are you not playing anymore, you said I'm burnt out, I'm done. So is that, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, even though you are born out,
I was after college. I was.
You were after college. You feel like you've given everything you got.
You can go. Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what was I going through? Like what was that experience?
Yeah, like I guess what I'm trying to ask is, when you reach that point, do you think do you regret it? Are you happy with the decision for like letting tennis go? And also, is it because you've pushed yourself so much early on in your life and putting that extra time in that got you there, or do you just think you've given everything that you can give to tennis and it's the next phase of your life? Because most people athletes just stay in the sport too long, and until they start getting injured and they come out 40, 35 or whatever, like, what am I going to do now? I've not developed any skills. So I'm just trying to figure out what got you there to be like, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
No, you're definitely right. I'll give you a little context, right? So Division 1 sports in general, especially if you're playing at such a competitive level or conference like Gonzaga, the West Coast Conference, you're playing Pepperdine, you're playing San Diego, Santa Clara, St. Mary's, BYU, and even out of our own conference, you're playing Stanford and all these big, so you're on the road. If I remember well, when I was in season, every week would leave on a Wednesday, would fly out, let's say go to St. Mary's on a Wednesday, and we'll be playing Thursday, Friday, and then we'll only be back on Sunday, midnight.
Okay.
So, and I was also majoring in like management information, basic computer science. So you miss one class, you are done. It's hard to catch up, right?
Okay.
So the education part is already hard. So, and you're on a scholarship. So you can't really afford to be. And I also had on top of an athletic scholarship, the tennis scholarship I had, with good grades, I also had an academic scholarship. Gonzaga also gave me an academic scholarship. But they said you have to keep a certain GPA, right, for that money to keep coming in.
Right.
I forgot what it was, but it wasn't like a 2.0 or something.
No.
It was high.
Like 3.8.
Maybe 3.2 or something. But it's high. It's high. So you have to maintain that. And if you don't, you're in trouble, right? So now imagine trying to become the best student in class, obviously, and trying to become the best tennis player on the tennis court. And also you have a social life, right? It's so much to balance for one person. But you have no choice but to do it.
Right.
So sometimes you cut on the social. when it becomes too tough, and then focus on the things that matter. Like I was telling you, would leave on a Wednesday, come back on the Sunday. Guess what? I've missed Thursday, Friday. I have to catch up. I would miss exams. I have to write those exams by myself in the professor's office or something, right? So being a student athlete, people think, oh yeah, you get free everything. We get gear like, clothes, shoes, whatever, equipment. You get to travel, everything you paid for. But it's not all that. That's not all there is. The player, him or herself, they also have to put in a lot of work. It comes with a lot of stress. And you have to learn how to balance that. A lot of pressure too. So for me personally, just going through that grind for 4 years, waking up at 6 a.m. every single day. You wake up at 6 a.m. You have an 8 a.m. class. 6 a.m. is weights or fitness. By 7:30, you are done. Your body is broken down. You're tired. But you have class at 8. You still need to get A's and B's. Do that for 4 years. You come to a point where you're like, I'm good. I'm out, man. I'm out. It was real, So it's tough. It was tough, man. It was tough. Funny story, actually. It was because I ended up getting injured my groin. I tore my groin. Just too much mileage on the legs,
body.
Obviously on the body. So I tore my groin. And with groins, it doesn't get stitched. You just basically wait until you recover. And during my last semester, that's when it happened. So I was out for a couple months, which was all right. And at some point, I had myself. I thought I was good, right? But internally, my body was under so much stress that it was going through, like physically, like the training and the mental. I'm thinking in class, right? I'm using my brain power to think in exams, and you also think about life. What am I gonna do when I graduate? Jobs. So you are balancing a whole lot. So I got this. I don't know if you know what Bell's palsy is.
No.
It's basically like a minor stroke.
Oh my God.
So one side of my body
just shut
down because one of my nerves, it got pinched by, I don't know how I'm not a neurosurgeon or anything, but from what they were explaining to me was one of my nerves was under so much stress that it closed. So information from my brain wasn't getting passed over to some of my body parts.
My God.
So I didn't know that until I was on the tennis court. And I would try to move, doing drills or whatever, just hitting, practicing, whatever. And I realized I was off balance on one side. I was trying to move this way, but only one side is moving, and the other side is just... So I'm like, man, things don't feel right. Something is off. I try to throw the ball and, serve, whatever. But only 50% of my capacity is functioning. But I'm telling myself, let's get after it. It doesn't matter. Why you being soft? But then it came to a point where I was like, no, this is serious. I need to go to the training room. So I go to the training room. They do the whole assessment. We each have like a trainer. Each team has a trainer. So I go to my trainer and I'm like, yo, I don't feel right. Something is up. So she does what she did, and she says, you gotta go for a scan where they put you in that CT scan thing. And then that's when they realize, like, oh, dude, you have Bell's palsy. So I Googled it, and man, it was scary when I Googled it. Man, that's some crazy. People don't recover from it.
Oh my God.
So I'll be walking, or actually I'll be sleeping, and my eye wouldn't close. This I would be sleeping like closed, but the other eye wouldn't close.
Oh my God.
Just because that's your crazy. Body has been under so much stress that, but it's not external though. It's internal. I didn't feel stressed personally. I thought everything was under control. It was under control, right? Because I was doing my thing. I was grinding through the whole thing. But my body, the system itself, it can only take so much. that's one thing I learned about humans. You know, we can only take so much. We might think externally we're fine, but internally sometimes we do need rest. So anyway, long story short, you know, I had to start using like goggles when I was playing, just because my eye wouldn't close, because my body wasn't functioning. My left side wasn't functioning. I would still walk, but when I slept,
You were
I had
still
to,
playing?
yeah, I still played.
Wow.
My coach was like, no, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll be fine. And then when I was go to bed, I had to like touch my eye to manually close it, because the brain wasn't shooting the whatever it is to
The
tell my
nerves
eye to
to close.
So going through all that, man, you come to a point where you're like, I think
I'm
it was a
good.
good ride, man. You know what I mean? I think it was a good ride.
So
I think it was a good ride.
but it took that for you to stop.
Yeah. I pushed my limits. I think to that, when you get to that point and you realize at that age too, knowing the sport, I wasn't really gonna. I never say never,
Right.
but at that point I was like, I'm never really gonna be like a professional like
Right.
that to make a living out of it. I could maybe, you know, get by whatever by playing professionally, but knowing whenever I do something, I want to do it. I want to do great.
Right.
You know, I don't like to do half things. I'm always 101. You know, by
Right.
now you know me, right? 101,
We're
102.
101, bro.
So I'm like, if I'm not gonna be 101, then that's not for me. I'm not doing it. So I'm not quitting, but I'm just saying I'm just gonna do something different. Well, with my major, I also like technology and computers. You know, computer science major. I can get a good job. I love computers, and it just happened starting during that time. You know, the whole technological side of things was starting to evolve, to boom. So got a good job, and I was like, yeah, for a change. I've been on the tennis court for so long. I don't mind being behind a computer. You
Just
know,
doing your thing.
and then also after I graduated, I kind of stopped for a while. Actually, I coached. I didn't stop. I coached. I went and coached in Boston. As a professional tennis professional at a country club. So I did that for a couple months and got offered the job, you know, to coach full time professionally at a country club. But I knew I had to do something different. I was good. It was at that point where it's good sometimes to tell yourself to be true to yourself.
Right.
To be true
not
to
lie
yourself.
to yourself.
Do not lie to yourself. So I told myself, man, I was like, yeah, it's been a good ride. It's been a nice 20 plus years, and I think it's time to do something different. So I stopped for a while after I finished teaching in Boston, coaching in Boston, and came here, started working, you know, for as a systems administrator for K through 12, and then moved on. Now I work for back at Gonzaga. I've been there for 2 years as a software developer. So technology, man.
That's an amazing
But
story,
I still
bro.
do play. But now I do play for passion, just because I love the sport. I still
Right.
play for, you know, money tournaments, win some money here and there. Yeah, I play some money tournaments sometimes, you know, because I still play, legit.
It's still in you.
Yeah. And I teach too on the side. I recently started doing that just because actually it's something I actually found within me that I actually like teaching. Like people who want to walk the same path that I walked.
Right.
So I work with you know, decent high school players that want to play college.
Right.
You know, private lessons and stuff.
Right.
I'm like mentoring and coaching at the same time.
Right.
The idea of spreading the knowledge that I have now,
Right.
and the fact that it worked,
Right.
I'm not gonna keep it to myself.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no point.
That's no point. Right.
So I'm trying the best way I can. Well, through coaching, you know, I don't coach like 10, 20 kids, but two, three at a time during the week, couple hours after work. That's my way of basically giving back. If I could, I live here now, but if I could, back home, you know, maybe there's another Ronzai there that that would want to hear this,
Right,
you know,
please.
and it would make a big difference.
Definitely.
You know, just telling them just telling them the story.
Oh,
This
this
is what happened.
Yes,
The
sir.
same school you're in, I was in the same school
Right.
and walked through the same path, and now I'm here.
I
And it's
do.
not because of some
Miracle. You just work
miracle.
hard.
It was hard work, and of course, I'm a believer too. You know, with faith, Jesus, with Jesus, anything is possible,
is
right?
possible.
With God, anything is possible. So, but things that I have control over is the things we just talked about. So
Bro,
now my
that's
goal is just to pass it around, man. Hopefully,
that's
I'm able to do that, right? So people to hear the story, and just to the fact that I did it means anybody else can do it. There's no secret.
that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's the same thing. Reason why I train as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, when I first came to the state, you know, I didn't come here in a talent scholarship or nothing like that. I didn't know anything, and I went through some rough patch, you know, relationship and life, whatever.
100%.
But the gym was what rescued me. You know, the gym gave me a new light, gave me confidence, gave me something that I can go out every day, work hard on, that makes me get me to reset my brain every day. And I don't think about the distance of how far I am from my family, or the
Right.
fact that I'm the only person here, or this milestone of either being able to be a legal resident here or whatever. Once I go to the gym, I notice that all those things don't faze me anymore. I'm
Yeah.
able to face my life, and I think that's why I'm a trainer now. It's like
Yeah.
I'm literally trying to share that. There's a moment that right after your workout, maybe you get this after a hard game. There's a moment where your mind is talking to you before you go to the gym, and you get to a point in the gym, not every day, but sometimes your mind go quiet, and you just for like maybe for whatever
45, 50
yeah,
minutes, yeah.
you're in control. And sometimes when you leave the gym, you take that with you, and your whole day you can have positive attitude. Anything that happens to you, you can go through
It's
it.
therapy, therapeutic.
So thank you so much, bro. This was big, and the most important thing I think you share today is you share the mindset it takes to be a pro, the mindset to be a winner, and also the cost. Because I think
Yeah.
people don't really, especially like social media. I hate that social media is always sharing. You know, do this, do that. You be number one, but nobody's really telling you like that's a price, because you push yourself there.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, it's not like you regret it because you're telling me it's too part of you.
Yeah, I don't. 100%.
But at the same time, you know, it's if you like you said, if you can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
if I can
saying?
do it, yeah, with the right mindset, right work ethic,
So
it's possible.
so if I want to, you know, play professional, let's say in tennis, and I'm here, or let's say I made it here, and I'm either, let's say someone that is an African kid, or maybe a kid of an African parent that is here. It's here in America, so there are better opportunities. So what do you think they should do if they're interested in tennis?
At what age? Like, how old is this?
I'm assuming
him or her. How old is she?
let's say 10 or 12.
10 or 12
Yeah.
years old. Personally, I would say get a good coach first. Just one coach, one private coach.
Right.
For the first year or two,
Right.
get the foundation right.
Okay.
Right, get the foundation right, and then go in an environment where you're gonna face adversity. Go in an environment with like-minded people. Go in an academy. Go in at some training place where you're being challenged, where you're being pushed, where you're being beaten, where you're losing matches. It teaches you character. You can't just isolate yourself. Even if you have money, start training with a private coach. Yeah, it works sometimes, but I think whenever we are put in an environment where we have to prove yourself, where you have to improve, right? If you're losing matches, it means you have to work harder in order to win matches, right?
Right.
So by doing that over and over and over and over again, you get to a point where you know where you are, you know where you stand. So my advice would be, if this was my own kid, let's say I have a kid and he or she is 9, maybe 5 or 6 years old, I would probably start teaching them around, and maybe get a coach to train them, so that family and because as a dad, I think I'll be a tough dad. Like go run 100 miles before the trip is over. No, yeah, just the foundations.
They need to lose.
They need to lose. They need to learn how to lose. It's okay to lose. It's okay. It's not the end of the world, but it teaches you as long as you learn from it. You know, and that's another thing with tennis too. Sorry, I know we're done, but you learn how to lose, but you only take the positive out of it to help you improve on the next match.
So you have to ignore all the negative.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy. But once you learn how to lose the right way, then it's not really losing. It's learning a lesson. Take out the positive things, work on them, and then implement them on the next match. Same thing. I use the same philosophy in life too. So that's what I was telling you. Like, tennis has been more than tennis. It has basically been a life coach. Because now, when you take that same philosophy in life, you apply for a job and you don't get it. What can you do about it? Nothing. But maybe you can ask whoever interviewed you, like, hey, what do you think I could have done better for me to get this job? Instead of saying, oh, my life sucks, right? My life sucks. Oh, I lost this job, or I didn't get this job. My life sucks. I suck. Da, da, da. No. What could I have done better? I'm going to tell you, work on your speech or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Work on your content.
Right.
Then you know, oh, okay, cool. It's fine. Then you move on. Life goes on. Work on your content. You apply for the next job. And guess what? Maybe you get it. But if you had gotten that job, you wouldn't have known, right? Like, you improve over and over and over again by accepting the losses, and just the big things, just learn from it. Learn from it. So that's why I'm saying it's important for, if I had a kid and they want to play tennis, first, of course, get a private coach, learn the basics, and then put them in an environment when they're going to get tossed and beaten and ignored, and face adversity. That's going to give them character.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And then once they learn how to, once you build character, then you know who you are. You know who yourself is. You know how you maneuver. You learn a lot of things about yourself, and you know how to survive. Once you have that, now maybe you can go to a private coach to work with at the age of maybe like 15 or 16. But that age from 10, 12 until 15, 16, trust them to the lions.
To them
trust them to the lions, yeah. They have to develop. They have to. Otherwise, if you shelter them and say, private coach, this, then they're not going to develop character, you know. That's what I believe. I don't know, maybe other people have different opinions.
No, that's you nailed on the head, bro.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely true.
Once they develop that character, then they are now in control of, even if you give them a private coach, they have developed that foundation of knowing who they are, knowing how to face adversity, knowing how hard life can be sometimes. Put them in a dormitory or something with 10 other kids, sharing the same room, sharing one shower with 20 other kids. You know, those kind of things. They build character. So that's what I would do.
Bro, thank you so much, bro.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
This is amazing, bro.
Anytime.